All right. I have a section here on processes, what processes are in place at the bank, and then I've got a number of bullet points, so maybe we could just run through those kind of quickly.
Sure.
Um, so one is simplify things for the customer, make it easy to do business with them. Does anything specifically come to mind that we haven't already talked about?
I mean, I would say that the organization, and I think this is true of all big banks, but the organization is structured in a very product-oriented way. And so you have the retail banking organization, for example. And even though the retail bank sells lots of things that don't necessarily, from a product standpoint, roll up into that leader, the branch is still very much a retail-first organization. And so when it comes to process is driven almost always at the product level and not at the customer level. And so, for example, if I walked into a branch and I wanted to apply for credit, and I wanted to do two things. I wanted to get a credit card and I wanted to get a mortgage. Those would be completely separate documents, completely separate processes. You may still talk to the same person in the branch about it, but he or she is navigating completely different systems and completely different parts of the organization in order to make this singular request for the customer happen. And so everything is done at the product level. Everything's managed at the product level. None of the data really kind of crosses outside of product. And so this is why, like, if you ever call into a big bank and you have multiple questions around multiple products, you likely will be kind of funneled through different parts of the organization and handed off to different people and have to reintroduce yourself and re-authenticate and all these types of things because everything is at the product level. And
what about things about within the process? Obviously, the process, the security of the bank has to come first.
Right.
Compliance with legal stuff and all of that, but are they constantly looking for ways to simplify things for the customers, maybe in terms of who the customer has to deal with?
I would say that there's a high-level desire to do that, but when you actually get into the belly of the beast, it is a very, very difficult thing to do. So even a checking account application, so just opening up like the most basic account that you can open up at the bank, they just made it digital like this year. And it's still a 12-page long application. And so I would say that there is much more of a stronger bias towards taking because simplification usually means that you're taking a risk around whether it be information capture or something around the kind of regulatory position. And the bank, just given all of the fines that they paid post the financial crisis, has the most conservative regulatory posture you can imagine, and that almost always means making it more complicated for the customer.
Okay. Clearly explaining fees, I would think that would be a no-brainer, but are there...
I think they explain fees up to what the regulatory requirement is and not anymore. I think they actually benefit from having complexity there.
All right.
I think that's a strategy. I don't think it's because people don't want to do it.
Okay. Making interactions more personal, take personal preferences into account, treat them like a person, not a number. Are there specific processes to ensure that?
Yeah, I mean, especially on the phone. I mean, it's an easier thing to deliver, in person in the branch, but on the phone, I mean, there's a fair amount of training about how to do that, and they put the most qualified and successful kind of agents into special queues that handle, whether it be VIPs or higher end products like Chase Private Client or Chase Sapphire Reserve or some of their higher end products. So those folks that excel in those kinds of interactions with the customer get promoted and get put into these special queues.